Emily never really went for guys like Jake. He was tall, skinny, and even though he wasn't all that old, you could already see a thinning patch on top of his head at first glance. They barely had anything in common, and they mostly hung out in the same friend group without mucho on one time. But then came the day. Emily got in serious trouble, and Jake was the only one who stood by her. That experience brought them closer than either of them ever expected. She realized she couldn't ask for a better man, while Jake, for his part, made shy little attempts at winning her over, fully convinced she was out of his league. So when Emily actually accepted his attention and agreed to go out with him, he felt like he was on top of the world. Their relationship moved fast, really. Fast. After just 2 weeks, Jake brought Emily to live with him. And a few months later, they went down to City Hall and tied the knot, without telling anyone. Jake's mom was horrified and tried to talk him out of making such a big commitment so soon, but he waved her concerns away, insisting he believed in his love for Emily more than anything else on earth. One evening they were lounging on the couch watching a new movie when Emily got a text. "Hey," she said to Jake, "Sophie invited me to her birthday party. She rented a place out of town and his planned a huge get-together, but you'll be on that work trip those days." Right? Jake felt a pang of disappointment, but he tried not to show it. He'd never been a fan of Sophie. He thought she was way too impulsive and easy, and he worried she might drag Emily into the same behavior. But Jake deeply valued their marriage and trusted his wife, so he let her go solo. In hindsight, that decision would haunt him. The birthday bash really was massive. Sophie was turning 30 and going all out with an American-style party. The house had a pool, enough booze to sink a ship, and so many rooms that anyone or any group could slip away for some private time. "Emily, come meet my co-worker," Sophie said at one point, pulling a young guy over to introduce him. Emily couldn't help noticing his chiseled features, the faint stubble on his jaw, and the way he ran his hand through his meticulously styled hair. "Hey, I'm Tyler," he said. Offering a handshake almost by reflex, she shook his hand, and Sophie immediately flitted off to chat with other guests. Emily felt kind of awkward alone with a stranger, so she found herself sipping her drink more and more. "You want another?" Tyler asked, politely. When he saw her cup was empty, Emily just nodded by her 5th glass. She realized she was good and buzzed. His jokes started to sound hilarious. She opened up about herself, listened to his stories, and before she knew it, the two of them had ended up in one of the upstairs bedrooms. Later, she'd be shocked at how quickly she'd gone along with it. But even after the fact, the memory still sent a thrill through her, a rush of new and discovered feelings. She and Tyler exchanged numbers. She didn't bother changing his name in her phone, assuming Jake would never snoop. He'd never been that kind of guy and always trusted her completely. But Jake soon noticed Emily spending more and more time glued to her phone. She was constantly messaging someone, giggling at whatever popped up on her screen. Every time he got and asked who was so funny, she'd say it was just the girls in her group chat. This went on for well over a month. Emily hadn't actually seen Tyler in person since that night, but not a day passed without them texting. She was drawn in by her conversations with this handsome guy. Sophie kept prying for updates, hinting that she'd wanted to set Emily up with someone more suitable than Jake for a while now. Emily didn't argue. Her mind was too wrapped up in thoughts of Tyler, and her husband had taken a back seat. She even started refusing to be intimate with Jake, which cut him deeply. One evening, while Emily was in the shower, Jake spotted her phone on the charger. He wrestled with himself, telling himself he should trust her, that he shouldn't intrude on her privacy. But in the end, curiosity and a knowing word were won out. He entered the code he knew by heart. The first chat that caught his eye was with Sophie, and as he skimmed it, certain lines jumped out at him, like Sophie admitting she'd wanted to match Emily with someone who's better for her than Jake. Alarmed, he read more carefully, and a chill spread over him. Everything pointed to Emily having slept with another man and still being in contact with him right then. A new notification flashed across the top of the screen, another message from someone named Tyler. Jake instantly knew exactly who that was. Opened their chat, scrolled through, and felt sick to his stomach over the flirty messages and pictures they'd been trading. A twinge of jealousy even hit him. Emily had never sent him anything soldering, even though he teased her about it more than once. "What are you doing?" came Emily's startled voice from behind. Jake was so caught up in what he was reading he hadn't heard the water shut off or noticed her approach. "What is this?" he shot. Back showing her Tyler's messages, Emily tried to grab her phone, but Jake was taller and simply held it out of reach. He pressed her again more urgently. This time, deep down, he already knew what had happened, but he needed to hear her say it. Emily fumbled nervously with the Belton, her robe, then confessed. Everything about Tyler Sophie's birthday and the lingering feelings she couldn't shake. Tears streamed down her face as she insisted she didn't know how it had all come about, and that she wished they could somehow start over and wipe away the mistake. Jake told her he needed time, but even after thinking it through, he just couldn't forgive her. He tried to swallow his anger, act like nothing had changed, and pretend they were still best friends and head over heels in love. But apparently Emily had only ever seen him as a friend. Maybe that's why it was so easy for her to cross the line and betray him. He made the toughest decision of his life, divorce. He realized there was no other way. He had honestly tried to forgive her, but the hurt was too deep. And raw. Emily crashed with Sophie for a couple of weeks, then moved in with Tyler. Before long she found out Tyler wasn't the perfect prince he pretended to be in real life. He was brazen, often rude, and had a bad habit of drinking too much. Once he crossed his limit, he'd turn into an out-of-control jerk who'd fly off the handle over the smallest things. Seven at her after the third time he got violent. Emily bolted and found a small rental place on her own. She suddenly had to make meat by herself, with no one to spoil her like Jake used to. Nights found her crying into her pillow, missing her ex-husband. Sadly, by then it was far too late. Her reckless decision had gained her nothing, only destroyed the life she and Jake had worked so long to build together.